All right, go ahead and label the topic to be LCM and fractions part 2. It is unit 1, notes 5. So unit 1, notes 5. Okay, most of this should be review from last year, what you learned. So we should be able to go through it pretty quickly. All right, LCM stands for least common multiple. So in order to add or subtract fractions with unlike bases, so denominators that are not the same, you need to find the least common multiple of the denominators. So let's just warm up real quick by finding the LCM of a few of these. Let's go ahead and do number 1 together. So I'm just going to list some of the multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and I can already stop there because I know that 8 is going to be the least common multiple, since 8 is our other number, and our first one would be 8 and then 16, but we can already stop because 8 is clearly the lowest multiple that they have in common. So I'm going to write our answer nice and big over there. Go ahead, pause the video here to do numbers 2 and 3 on your own. So pause it, try it on your own. Okay, you should have paused the video and done number 2 and 3 on your own. So number 2, I'm just going to list the multiples of 3 and 5. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then go ahead and list the multiples of 5 as well. So 5, 10, 15, 20. I can stop because I did find two numbers or two multiples that they share. 15 is the lowest number that they have in common. So that is our LCM. Number 3, 8, and 10, you should have listed out 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. We can stop there because we know that 10 goes into 40. So 40 is our LCM. Now the reason we're doing this is because it helps find common denominators. All right. So here are the steps right here, 1 through 5, when you are adding and subtracting fractions that do not have the same denominator. Okay, so just like before, when we had to write mixed numbers as improper fractions, right? We did this on our last notes and homework. Now we're going to have to find the LCM of the denominators. So the bottom number, right? That's how we're going to get common denominators, or one of the easiest ways to get common denominators. Then we'll rewrite the fractions and add or subtract the numerators just like we normally do, and then simplify at the end. So number 7. We want to find common denominators for 9 and 3. So we're going to find the LCM, right? 9, we have 9, 18. I'm going to pause there because for 3, we have 3, 6, 9, and I can stop right there because we already have a number in common, 9. So our denominator will be 9. All right, so now that we changed our denominators, we have to change our numerator. We did not change going from here to here, so our top also stays the same. But to go from here to here, we multiplied by 3, which means we also have to multiply by 3 on the top. You need your fractions to stay equivalent. Now that we have 11/9 plus 6/9, we do have a common denominator of 9, so that stays. Now we just add the top, 11 plus 6. We get 17 over 9, and I'm not going to go through changing it to a mixed number and simplifying, but you should do that on your own since we already learned how to do that. So that would eventually get down to 1 8/9. All right, pause now and go ahead and try number 8 on your own. All right, you should have paused the video and tried number 8 on your own. So our LCM of 4 and 7. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. I'll pause there to see if I have enough. And then 7. We have 7, 14, 21, 28. I can stop because I have 28 in common. All right, so we have 28 on the bottom of our fractions. How did we get from 4 to 28? Well, we multiplied that by 7. So we also have to multiply our top by 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Now we have times 4, so we have times 4 up there as well, and we get 36. Okay, your denominator stays the same. Add your numerators together. When you simplify, you should get 2 and 1 over 28. All right, moving on to number 9. You guys can use calculators for this now that we've already tested on adding and subtracting with negatives. You can now use a calculator to make it easier for you. All right, so if I found my LCM, I would find that 24 is my least common multiple between 6 and 8. So I'm just going to change my denominators to 24. Okay. This one multiplies by 4. So this one also has to multiply by 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 8 times 3 got us to 24. So we also have to multiply by 3 on the top. 3 times 3 is 9. All right. This was negative right here. This fraction was negative. So this fraction must stay negative. Same as before, we keep our denominator the same. And now on top, we have negative 20 plus 9. You can put that into a calculator. The negative symbol is just the minus sign. So negative 20 plus 9 would get you negative 11. And this is simplified. Now that we've gone through all the steps, you can try number 11 and 12 on your own. Let's take a peek at number 10 real quick. So we have a whole number right here, right? Negative 12. In order to make this into a fraction and combine it with 7 over 5, just put it over 1. It's as simple as that. All right, so here's 11 and 12. Go ahead, pause the video, follow the steps right up here, right? So mix numbers to improper fractions before you do anything else. Pause here, try on your own. All right, you should have paused the video to do numbers 11 and 12 on your own. What it should have come out to is 211 over 24, which would simplify down to 8 and 19 over 24. And then here, you should have switched or replaced that minus minus with a plus. And if you didn't do that, then pause the video again and redo that problem. All right, so you should have changed that fraction to 41 over 8, and then we changed that to a plus, remember? And then this one would change to 21 over 20, okay? Then you would find the LCM between 8 and 20. It should have been 40. So that's your new denominator. And then after you change the numerators, you would end up getting as your final answer 247 over 40, or the same as 6 and 7 over 40. If you are getting those wrong, be sure to check your work, try again. All right, flipping onto the back. It's just more practice at the top. Here we just have some word problems, okay? I want you to read the word problems on your own and decide whether it should be addition or subtraction. So pause the video here. All right, you should have decided if they were addition or subtraction. You should have set up your problems. So I'm just going to set up the word problems for you, and I want you to check that you did that right. So Margie had 4 2/5 pans of lasagna, right? So we write down what we start with. And then she had a party and she had 1 1/2 left. Okay. We want to know how much was eaten. So if you start with 4 2/5, that's what you started with at the party. And then we need to subtract what was left to figure out how much they ate at the party. Okay, so that's your setup. Number 20, it says Brett ran 3.5 miles on Tuesday, 2 1/3 miles on Wednesday, and 5 3/4 miles on Thursday. How many did he run all together? That is your keyword right there that tells you you are going to add all these fractions together. So here you would have to find a common denominator for all three of these numbers right here, all three of the denominators. That common denominator would be 12. Number 21, it says, what is the difference in height? That's your keyword right there. That tells you that you're going to have a subtraction problem. Okay. That is 3 foot 9 inches and 5.5 feet tall. So we have a mix here of feet and inches. We need to put them on, we need to get them converted to the same unit. So I'm going to pick feet. So we already have 5.5 feet. And then 3 foot 9 inches, we need to convert to feet completely. We don't want inches in there. So that's 3 feet 9 inches, right? So the 3 feet, that would be our whole number in this mixed fraction, right? 3 feet. This right here was 5.5 feet. So 3 and some type of fraction we're gonna have. We have 9 inches right here. We need to put that into a fraction. So to do that and to do this, if you're doing like seconds to minutes, hours to days, things like that, always think of how many, so for this case, how many inches are in a foot, since we're going from inches to feet. So we have 9 inches that we're talking about, and there are 12 inches in a foot. This is the fraction that we use. And we can go ahead and simplify this by dividing by 3, and you get 1/3. So 3 1/3 is 3 1/3 feet is the same thing as 3 foot 9 inches. That one was trickier, but that's how you set that up. And then number 22, we have an empty fish tank that weighs 4 2/3 pounds. Once filled with water, it weighs this much right here. How much water was added? So we are given the final weight right here. We need to subtract off the starting weight to figure out the amount that was added. Okay? So you should have tried those on your own first. Don't just wait for the answers. Now you can go ahead and go get your homework 5 and work on that.